Last Pint Productions presents the New Way Studio Playset. The New Way Studio Playset comes with everything you need to fake your own podcast. Have a seat in Ben Wilson's chair, but watch out! The Guardians of the Galaxy are falling! Recreate one of his classic bull in a china shop moments with a spring-activated mechanism. And what's that over there? It's the Nick Santa Croce Corner of Judgment. Don't get caught on the wrong side of his opinion on Spider-Man 2, or it'll be lights out for you. Plus, there's the Matt Shank Laugh Lair. Don't say something funny or else you'll trip the laugh alert. Oh no! Now you've done it! The New Way Studio Playset, sold at a store near you, and it contains adult content. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends?
No.
I really enjoy talking to people.
24 nuevos y terroríficos Monster in my pocket.
That's right, it's Pizza Face, the mutated pizza chef. He's using his killer pizza to try to stop the sewer dragster.
You can count on love. Everybody wants to be naked and famous. Everybody wants to be just like me. I'm naked.
Will you help teach me about this? What is it? A new way?
Hola, bitches! How is it going tonight, tomorrow, the day, the night, whenever you listen to the podcast? We don't know. Great. We'll get to you in a second. Don't want to get out of order here. There might be someone here. This is the New Way Podcast, where we talk about everything you could ever possibly want to know about movies, TV, pop culture, toys. Maybe at some point we'll do a podcast where we talk about
finally a whole episode dedicated to Robin Williams' toys,
to the 1992 seminal Barry Levinson movie.
I have been waiting a long time for this, gentlemen.
You know, Nick, I literally wrote that joke about 6 bullet points down into the podcast.
No. I'm sorry to
start over.
Hey,
redo.
You know what they say about great minds, right?
Yeah, that was wonderful. Thanks.
Oh, good for you.
I'm glad you got that one first. That was good. This is the New Way.
You can't dangle that carrot in front of me and not expect me to take it.
Now, normally our podcast is 3 of us. It would be Matt, myself, is Matt.
Off to a great start. Great start.
I have a little bit of identity crisis. Ben and Nick, we have no Ben tonight because he is on assignment this time. Where the hell did he go to this time? Do you know?
He's in, I believe the locals call it Nolans.
We were sent a picture of someone wearing weird looking attire at an airport that Ben sent because he's Ben Effortless Wilson, and that's what happens. But we are joined tonight.
He also sent me a picture of his tits and a bunch of beads. I told him Mardi Gras isn't yet, Ben. I don't know what you're celebrating tonight, but that's weird.
Dude, fucking parties, bro.
How did the tits look? They look good?
Shapely. Still has his perk, his college perk.
Does he have reduction much or just straight up?
It's straight up,
All natural.
Is there a hobbit hair on there? Like the feet?
They look like Georgia Bulldogs.
That was a good answer.
Perfectly groomed.
So you might have noticed a couple of other voices, and that's not just Nick and me doing our improv troupe exercises in here. We actually do have two former guests, but who have never appeared on the podcast together. We have first super fan,
Make it weird.
And our oldest fan ever, Mr. Greg Klein. How's it going, Greg?
Howdy, fellas.
I doubt that he's our biggest fan. I think he fell off. He fell off.
Wow,
he's our oldest fan for sure. I mean, look, you even corrected yourself.
He's right.
Hey, it's on tape. You corrected yourself. You stopped listening. What happened, Greg? Why did we lose you?
I love it because I was definitely gonna have to talk about that at some point. Why not do it now? I haven't listened in like 9 episodes or something like that. But hey, I'm gonna catch up.
David Crespo, before we got in the studio, said, "Oh, great recent episode, you guys. I listened to it. I listened to it.
I remember competing against Wilma myself. Wilma was not a challenge when we had
some big love for Wilma from what was our team
Pound
name?
My Asperger's.
No, a quarter pounder my Angus.
Oh yes, something.
Wow, David.
Sorry, do not order the Asperger's.
I understand. It was totally Native Remedies was coming through. Like we've got a remedy for Asperger's.
Wow. That was a weird tangent that you went. But no, we were formerly quarter pounder my Angus, and we had a run for a while with Wilma touched me, and then we would say something else after that. But
actually, what do you think? What do you think about starting a chain of like, instead of Hooters for boobs, it's called Ass Burgers, and the thing is just in booty shorts. But we're not making
good ideas.
We're not making light of the condition.
Not this time.
It's just a pun on ass and burgers. It has nothing to do with the. You
mean the waiters aren't going to be like really good at math, but not good at taking your order or social?
No.
Okay. I think
Asperger's.
You know what? I think this is a great idea, and I think we should make this happen. We're going to table it.
The butt could be the B in burgers in the logo. Do you see it with me? I'm picturing it in my head.
I get it, Nick. I get it. We're going to table this, and we're gonna go ahead and create a business plan together.
Yeah, David's good at the business plan, so that's good. So, that is David Crespo, is the other voice you're hearing. Now, David, Greg, and I all work together at a company, as Nick affectionately calls it, Leah Remedies.
The greatest show on earth.
Which always is now just, anytime I think of Native Remedies, I just think Leah Remedies. Does
that website still exist, by the way?
Oh, it exists. Oshkosh Bagosh is doing great things with it. They changed the Pet Alive logo to purple. We were
Minnesota did.
They just
Wisconsin did.
Wait.
Yeah, on top of that, I don't know if anybody else.
Not Pedo Life.
Pedo Life?
Yeah, so we worked for a company that sold herbal and homeopathic remedies, and then we also had an offshoot for pets called Pet Alive, not Pedo Live. Although we did have a lot of peto.
It's very Frankenweenie.
named things. So
true.
And speaking of which, David had a pedo bear on his desk for the longest time. When I first started at that company, you had a pedo bear like sitting prominently under with Mardi Gras beads on it.
He, as a matter of fact, was a high supporter of all the initiatives that we started there, especially email. Like, to this date, he is the only mascot that we ever had that actually rode the Bronto. Like, none of else could fit on top of the Bronto besides him.
So we're gonna
and also, Nana, if you're listening, just Google pedo bear. Don't call me. I don't want to have that conversation. You can just Google it. Urban Dictionary.
So I took a calculated risk that some of this podcast might get a little bit inside baseball because we have worked together. That said, I think we can double our audience if only people we worked with listen to it. So
yes.
Totally.
I think we might have an episode. I think and Nick will learn a lot about our inside jokes for this. But
speaking of who's listening, do you think Joan's going to listen to this?
No, the wife will not be listening.
Has she listened to any of the podcasts?
She did listen to the Disney one, and I have not been able to recover from that one.
All right, do me a favor, tell her not to listen to this.
It's been a very long time since we've slept together because of that.
Personal stories.
Oh my goodness gracious! I was going to mention that David. Jesus Christ! Oh Lord!
I mean, can you blame her? Though,
we can't.
To be fair.
Absolutely.
I mean,
she's jealous of Flynn Rider in ways that I never thought were possible.
Yes, in case some of you might recognize David's voice from our Disney podcast. Also, I should let Disney Marvel know I can never direct a movie that you do because I did record this for that podcast, which I recommend you listen to.
Last Pipe Productions presents the New Way Podcast. Oh, gee, kids, the New Way Podcast sure does contain a lot of naughty words meant for grown-ups. Be sure to ask your parents if it's okay for you to hear naughty words like poop or fart, dookie, pee-pee, wee-wee, fuckwad, thunder cunt, big black cocks with pearly white cum, rumple foreskin, the hot Carl, the Cleveland steamer, jizz trap, donkey raping shit eater, Donald Trump. Listener discretion is advised.
So that pretty much guarantees I will never work for any Disney-owned property, I don't think.
Mr. Hanky isn't owned by Disney. Why would they care?
Well, I would say actually it was a little bit more like another one of our favorite Native Remedies characters, which is...
You're a cow.
Which is Mr. Towley from South Park.
I was going to say, there's definitely a Trey Parker ambiance.
Listen, doing well. So the problem with doing Mr. Hanky though is that my
was that a correct use of ambiance, by the way?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I
don't think so.
No,
keep going.
No, my grandmother sounded like a dead-on mixture between Mr. Hanky and Yoda. And so I realized a lot of my impersonations do that, but she had a southern accent like this, but then she also had that old lady kind of go. She go,
Well, gee, you kids sure should be sucking more flowers out there.
Wow, I didn't know if you were able to pay that off, but that's exactly how you described.
And I will say she up until like 91 years old was still chugging a light beer at lunch every day. She loved it.
Secret
God
to
bless
long
Grandma
life.
Jean, love her.
A little beast, maybe a little old Milwaukee.
Now, so since David and Greg and I work together, I was trying to figure out. We have a gazillion stories that I think are fun for air that we could tell, but
then one story that you can never tell on air.
Well, and I say because Nick is actually familiar with this one particular avenue I want to talk about, which is we created a lot of great content at Native Remedies, but none greater than a YouTube sensation called Mr. GregSmash. Now, Mr. GregSmash was...
Is this the one where the child eats the sugar and the father asks the child if the child ate the
Nick,
sugar?
I swear to God, if you start singing that fucking Baby Shark song, I'm going to lose my fucking shit.
Johnny.
I can't
Nick,
deal with it.
You're ruining this right now. You're ruining
I'm sorry.
greatness with your shit.
God damn it, it's
So
in my
YouTube,
head
YouTube,
already.
go.
It's there. It's in my head
How am I
already.
the only one that has kids here, and you guys all know that shit?
It's a dark corner of the internet. It's the
yourselves.
latest meme.
I hang out with lots of kids.
No,
Oh.
Papa.
No.
Whoa.
So, we when we worked together, we
Let's see how it covers from
our
that.
our marketing department had a back door that Greg used to use quite often. He was a big fan of the back door.
Figuratively.
Still is.
Hey,
and
Sorry, stepped on that. Gotta give you some room. Stretch your legs out.
Oh man alive, this is gonna get out of control quickly.
This is a 2-hour podcast, by the way.
So
Ken Burns presents the New Way podcast.
So we had this
17
this
parts.
door that went out to a loading dock that was shared between a couple of different buildings that were there, and there were no one working in the other buildings other than some guy that stored his like super fancy like high end cars in one of the garages there. So
True.
Yeah.
I don't know how it actually. I do remember it started. David Crespo was a big fan. Can I say that you were a big fan of drinking at work? Is anyone gonna? But
the only reason that I was a very big fan of drinking at work is simply
Super
because it meant
responsible.
that I could keep working. It was just at my desk, and so as a matter of fact, to this day, West Coast is that much more liberal than the East Coast was, and I still continue to drink at work, but it's simply for efficiency.
Yeah.
You were doing just fine when I had this as an isolated incident in 2012. But
Think about it. It's only a matter of time before ska becomes popular again. Eventually, the Don Draper drinking on the job is going to come back, and it's going to be like nothing.
Right. I saw this stupid bitch wearing
It's
bell
an
bottoms.
efficiency thing. Like, if you want to get through the worst shit that you've done this week, sometimes alcohol takes the edge off.
That's
or
true.
if you're in the West Coast, there's other things that also take the edge off. But at the end of the day, you are still productive, and you produce some level of
Wow.
work that your boss
this.
approves of.
Amen.
Hey, if
Amen.
you recall,
boy.
you did your best work. When you
Yes,
were
I do my
half
best
baked.
work on alcohol,
Well,
and also when the lights are off.
your sphincter definitely loosened up a lot after a couple of drinks. But
I think I can
and
see
I don't
that-
mean that sexually. I just mean you were somewhat of an uptight. You were my boss when I started at Native Remedies.
Also,
too.
not for that
That's
matter,
hysterical.
it also loosened up after I got a critical review of a certain employee that I was like, okay, I need to lighten up a bit.
Del hated me, man. But by the way,
We won't say that it involved a certain like measurable beer share. Or anything like
Well,
that.
David said before we did the podcast, he said, "Do you want to do some rum?" So you know when you talk about alcohol, he's serious.
I'm leaving.
Oh no!
That's all.
Man, we have peaked.
Like I
our
said,
I'll do
volume
some
levels.
rum. I'll do some rum. Fuck it. Let's do it.
2 hours.
Just roll
Like,
the sleeve
it's
up.
gonna take us 2
Fucking
hours.
Go, you pussies.
Listen, you guys are
We really just need to lower all of us down. just a smidge here.
And you thought you peaked in high school, Greg.
Yeah.
Oh man! Oh man!
It's fucking control.
I have lost all control of this podcast.
This is just become a conversation.
My
amongst
notes, my
friends.
beautiful notes. Structure, I crave it. I crave structure. When am I going to make my toys joke with Robin Williams?
Already made it.
Oh no!
Oi, man, take control.
How much would Ben hate this, by the way?
Here,
can we talk about our
Ben would not
about
enjoy
Ben?
this. So
Ben
much.
would be miserable. He'd be shaking in his boots.
Yes, let's talk about
yeah.
Ben.
Can we
right
talk
now.
about Ben a little
Be like,
bit?
hey, can we
do
talk about pre-code film for a second? All right, let's talk about what I know. So David one famous time brought in not just rum drinks. He brought in the mixings for like rum barrel drinks, and I mean he brought in fresh. Like a whole fresh pineapple,
That's how you do some rum.
and a cantaloupe, and like
why
so,
this happened.
and he took them in this
didn't
little
know Ben
supply
figured that
closet back by our desk, and he would go in there like a mad scientist and close the closet door, and you just hear like clank.
That's a Kids in the
like,
Hall
shit
sketch.
going
That's a
on.
legitimate Kids in the Hall
It
sketch.
was
And then
in
he
the
would come
closet.
out, and he'd come out, and he would have, and it was in like a tiki.
No,
Rum barrel,
is this
bro.
real? You're describing girl drink drunk.
It is
the Kids in the Hall
it is
sketch.
Exactly
exactly that.
Everybody
And he
made
would
a
bring it out
reference
to
to
us,
girl
and he,
wasted.
I mean,
You know
he made these delicious juice
They
drinks.
tasted fantastic.
He literally had to peel a pineapple and core it at one point. But now he underestimated the fact that no one was going to drink more than one of these monstrosities during the day. So he
Except
had
me.
all of this fresh fruit left over in the kitchen. So we were like, what happens if why don't we just, let's freeze this cantaloupe. We just want to freeze like a, we want to freeze a coconut. He had actual coconut in the shell. We're gonna freeze this coconut.
And the lime was in the frozen coconut.
We're getting to the lime and the cocoa. Don't you worry.
We're gonna put the lime in it in a moment.
So it goes in the freezer that was like right back in that same area. We had like our own marketing fridge back there, and we put this coconut in. And we freeze it, and we're like, "What are we gonna do with this?" And Greg goes, "Well, I have a baseball bat in my trunk because he always carried around baseball equipment in his
No,
trunk."
not baseball. All sporting equipment.
This is true. He had a longboard. You had like a regular skateboard.
An official,
They call me Dix,
Bowling
bitch.
ball and bowling shoes.
an official Little League Louisville Slugger.
He had a lot of leashes, but no
wasn't
dogs, and candy, just lots of candy. It was a fun place to hang out.
Duct tape.
And some lawn darts. But so we decide that we're gonna take the coconut outside. We had a Bob's Bear, a traffic cone.
Yep.
And we're gonna put the frozen coconut on the traffic cone, and we're gonna have Greg hit it as hard as he can with a baseball bat. And this is what the first Greg, we wound up calling it Mr. GregSmash. This is what the first one sounded
Mr.
like.
Formal.
There's layers to that. If you,
So many.
Wow. We gotta go. No,
Visuals are so
I'm gonna
required.
play this one. I'm gonna play this one more
Yeah,
time
you
because
gotta do it
there is a lot to unpack in this, and we'll try to remain quiet. Wow, we gotta go. So
Matt filming.
Greg, so I cut some out of that. Greg first goes, "Let me whip out my sword," and pulls the bat out to start it. Then he says he's gonna put the lime in the coke, or I say he's gonna put the lime in the coconut.
I know exactly where you're going at all times. You know that, right, Matt?
So he literally hits this thing, and it
I swung as hard as I
shatters
could.
into 1,000 pieces, and Greg yells, and I have.
It felt good. That was fucking visceral.
Which is, I realized that Greg also loved the Colossus yell from the X-Men game.
Oh, wow.
We forgot about this.
Oh yeah, that's real.
Dead on.
I have never heard
Dead
a
on.
human being, upon successfully hitting an object, it was like Lord of the Flies, guttural amazing. So we decided, let's see what else can we freeze that Greg can subsequently hit with a baseball bat. We did a cupcake. We froze a cupcake.
All sorts of fruit.
We did a mango.
The Flamingo.
The
Flamingo is-
frozen mango.
If anybody ever wants to understand how you separate the pit from a mango, freeze it, hit it with a baseball
It's just
bat.
the easiest way to do it.
we also
Or just ask Chris
The,
Guitar.
as a matter of fact, we dubbed it The Fromango.
The Fromango. Yeah, it was Mr. GregSmash versus a frozen mango, and we even had we graduated to freezing things and then lighting them on fire and then hitting them with a baseball bat.
And this was done during work hours.
Oh yes, 100%.
Only.
I mean,
because
why
you
would we
can't do
come
this in your free
there
time?
on our
Why?
free time? We're not
Did our
getting
45
paid
minutes
for that.
of work, and then we
And work so hard to do this for free. Come on, Nick. What are you even thinking? Right
And you
now?
had to work fast too, because I mean, frozen coconut in the Florida weather that'll thaw in like
I know,
20 seconds.
Greg had to chub up right away and be ready to go. He had a fluffer on hand, just ready to make sure that he.
So the point was, you came in on Monday, you came up with a game plan, and come Thursday, Friday, like execution. Key.
Now, I'm gonna give one.
The days in between were freezing, whatever.
Now I'm gonna give a tease to everyone out there because I recommend you go and search YouTube for Mr. GregSmash. But I will say,
This is a shameless attempt at it.
100%.
Yeah.
Nick,
worth it, though.
we right now
It's
have
worth it.
We currently
You're
have
trying to monetize your old Mr. GregSmash videos, aren't you? After 10 years.
Nick, Mr. GregSmash currently has 2 subscribers, and I think both of them are me.
I think I might be one of
3.
them.
I am one of them.
No, there are only 2. I saw it today, and I was very upset by it.
Oh, no. You gotta
No,
get that
It's
other
because we
crap
lost
out of there.
subscribers. That's the problem.
I recently unsubscribed. I'm sorry, guys.
Damn it.
Yes,
Nick.
I have also.
Now, I
done
will
the
say,
same.
Nick Santacroce watched a whole bunch of these with David and me and laughed his ass off. But my favorites were, I don't know, this is not PC to what we named this creature anymore.
Oh
but
my God.
Yes!
It's that long ago that we can't even say that
we
shit
can't.
anymore.
We can't.
There's
but
2 angles on it.
That's
It's
so fucking
fantastic.
funny.
We received this inflatable no, not Triceratops.
Triceratops.
Take out the NY at the
You're
end,
you're
you're
about
fine.
to say the actual name of the creature, but no, it was an inflatable Triceratops.
Triceratops.
Take out the NY.
And
you're
we
good.
and we filled it with water so that we could freeze it, because that's all we knew how to do was to fill things with water and freeze them. So we filled and it was big, like the size of like a poodle, like a small dog,
Like a 40-pound
toy
dog.
like a
good 40-pound
dog, a 40-pound.
That's not a poodle. That's
say Shih Tzu. Say
that's
Shih Tzu.
several poodles.
No, it's bigger than a Shih Tzu though.
Shih Tzus are about.
Shih Tzu
pretty big.
potato. I mean,
Well, that's the Apso. It was about the size of a Lhasa Apso.
T-Tops was pretty.
T-top
was
trans
a-
person top.
He was a burly gentleman.
Give it to me in
Lady.
corgis. Give it to me in corgis.
He
How many
weighed
corgis?
about as much as a German Shepherd, but was as long.
You could
as
probably
about
stuff a corgi
a-
in there, but it would be a little bit
border
jacked
collie.
up. But yeah,
Sausage
corgi-ish
corgi.
size. So we froze it, and we knew that Greg's like, I'll break my wrists if I try to hit it with a bat.
Yeah.
How do we destroy it?
I did that math real
So
quick.
we realized that that you could sneak up to the roof
God
on
help
the
Crespo's
building
wrists.
next to us. A building I wound up working in like 2 years
my
after
God.
this, where Vape World
It was
used
the
to be.
sensual massage place behind
And
the alley on a.
we brought the Triceratops to the top of the roof, and Greg triumphantly threw it over the edge. And then we did
bottoms.
Well, we did this with several animal related things. We had a cow that we did that our friend, one of our Casey Marcus used to describe animals
by the sounds they made.
By the sounds they made, but added pig to the end of all of them. So he goes, "Oh, that's a moo pig." We're like, "You mean a cow?" He goes, "Yeah." And that's a ribbit pig. We're like, "That? You mean a frog?" He goes, "Yeah, ribbit pig." And that's a quack pig.
He was
and
our
like,
star paid search expert.
He by the way, is running Google. He has graduated to all paid search Google.
He
So.
works
Last
at
I
Google?
checked,
No,
yeah.
no,
Oh my fucking God.
He's now
I was
my
gonna
boss.
destroy this place.
No, he's doing real well for himself for a kid that called a cow a moo pig.
I'd like to have a word with him about why he's putting all of those negative Donald Trump articles to the very front.
I've been trying
true.
to fight it with
It's
it.
true.
Like,
Shameful.
I felt like I paved the way for him, but like we're
But
trying to figure this out.
I will
did.
say I've worked at a fair number of places. I have not made quite as many lasting friends from most of the places that I've worked. So it is a testament that I have two very good friends of mine joining us tonight, including one of whom came up with the topic tonight. So David, why don't you tell our audience out there a little bit about what we're going to be speaking about?
So I got super excited when I'm thinking about some of the silly things that I do as an adult now that as a kid you always struggled with your parents, like, I really desperately want this toy, or like, I'm really interested in this specific topic. But now, like, you have money, you can do the things that you want to do, you can go into debt as much as you want to for the things that you've always wanted. And so the concept for tonight was always like, you know, what was the toy as a child that you either always wanted or that you begged and begged and begged that your parents would buy you? And eventually they're just like, you know what? This kid won't shut the hell up. So we're going to go ahead and buy him that, you know, G.I. Joe battleship that's about, you know, 1/6 the size of an actual
Only you asked for the
battleship.
double-ended dildo in the true story, right?
I mean, in the end of the story for me is, yes, I always wanted a rabbit. I really wanted the rabbit, you know. And
I mean, I thought you were a fan of the Anal Intruder 3000, but...
No, you gotta have the clit stimulator.
Yes, for me,
in the rabbit's design.
That's the problem that you were thinking, and also Matt was thinking. It's always the clit stimulator, and, you know, I always like to have a little bit, you know, that friction on, you know.
Okay, that's...
Amen. Amen, David.
All right, either way.
First of all...
This is so over
You
the
stuck
top.
the landing on that. You stuck the landing on that. I didn't know if
Yeah.
you were. I didn't know where it was gonna go, and then I'm solidly there. As someone who literally just spent an obscene amount of money on
a rabbit himself. I understand. Like, we can go, that's not for this podcast, Nick. When the podcast is over, we can talk about it. But more importantly, we can talk about what the secondary topic of those toys that we can now afford. So I'm going to switch it over back to Matt, and like, we'll go ahead and get back on top.
What were you going to say, Nick, that you just spent a large amount of money on?
I did
on a rabbit.
Literally today spend a lot of money on my Batman costume upgrade. So this is really poignant for me.
Sorry, that actually is on point today. Sorry, I missed that.
I mean, I've made it, Mom and Dad. I have expendable income to buy a custom Batman cow off Etsy. For God's sake.
Can I leave?
You got that.
I'm gonna go watch the football game.
At this point,
says the man wearing a shredder glasses right now. But
from the TMNT.
Know it.
well, so I want to backpedal for just a second. So
It won't be the last time this episode.
Can you hear it?
I definitely like.
That's my beard.
Oh, you're grabbing your beard on the thing again?
What's it sound like? Hold on.
Great.
Shh.
That's the sound of testosterone.
Any more
Is that good?
treats?
Well, stick around, Ben. You'll see.
Yeah, I think so.
You'll see.
Oh, Benny.
Greg,
So,
you haven't listened to the podcast in a
missing.
while. That's kind of a running joke on the New Way podcast.
Wow.
I haven't even done
insult your first
our
fan.
most famous new joke that you don't know about. But all right, so really, what we wanted to talk about in a general topic is.
Robin Williams toys.
toys in general, but also toys and their tie-in with pop culture and movies, TV, just kind of in general. What was the generational change? And what's kind of good is we're all a couple of years. I think Greg, you and Nick are similar, real close in age, right?
Yeah, 3'6".
Yeah,
35.
So you guys are pretty close. Dave is the youngest in the group,
32.
and I'm the oldest, but not by a lot. But but the generations is very important with toys because you, especially as a young kid, you grow out of things very quickly.
I mean,
all of a sudden, you want to be like, we're too cool for it.
Well, we had color TV, but you still had black and white TV.
Okay, that's not.
Got him.
All right, Nick, we're not talking about that. We're talking about more
I
important.
did have a lot of black and white television, but I mean, so
Stop making him feel bad.
I'm sorry.
What was interesting is Nick and I were watching a preview for the newest Transformers movie, and the Transformers movies have been very terrible.
Vomit.
But the newest one, there were something about the trailer felt kind of old school Transformers movie. And I remember, and I leaned over, I go, I really wish it had like the symbols where you put like the heat on it and it makes the face thing. And Nick was like, give me a kind of a smile nod. And I was like, he goes, I didn't really know the Transformers toys. And I was like,
wow.
And I was like, Transformers were a big part of my childhood.
What was the name of the toy? Okay, guys, this is crazy. I didn't actually think about this until you just said that. But a big toy that, like, I had a lot of these. My friends had a lot of these. They were about, like, pocket-sized, and they were little plastic figurines of, like, an armadillo and robotic armor.
Muscle Men.
Is that what it was?
Yes,
I
that's
think
you-
you're talking
you-
about
saying.
something.
But there was like a little sticker that was black, but when you put heat and you rubbed it, it would show what
I don't know
element
if
they are.
had- Oh no, I don't know that one.
It would show what element they are, and then basically you were supposed to use the element into, like, if they went into battle, you didn't know what their emblem was until you rubbed their chest, and then if like
Yeah, you did.
water would beat fire, and like
So it's like a Captain
wind
Planet
would beat
thing.
Earth. It
That's
sort
what I
of.
was thinking. Yeah.
I
And
don't know.
it also led the way for like monsters in my pocket. I used to love those. Remember those?
See, and I don't, and I have I get nothing for that.
So get
for
this,
me.
they're even smaller, like probably like silver dollar size plastic rubber.
You put the bag in the water and it dissolved, and then you had a monster in my pocket.
That is not even close to what.
Whoa,
this
my
is.
God! It's the most passive. Like that's a guy that clearly works for Monsters, not in my pocket, the competing brand.
Sorry, I'm.
You
Yeah, it's a
not
great,
the-
it's a
I'm
great
not-
toy. You put a thing in the water, the monster comes out. It fucking sucks. It's stupid. A fucking dumb toy.
I'm sorry,
Fuck
Nick. I'm
monster in
not.
my pocket.
I'm not thrilled by what you've exposed thus far.
I'll
Do
show
you
you-
remember it?
I show you
I
a
do.
real monster in
That's
my pocket.
what it was.
He's not thrilled, but I'll expose this. They're all. You would actually have loved it because it's like Greek mythology.
The fuck was that?
Thunderstorm? What is that?
Don't pretend like that.
What you're talking about is not appropriate.
I did
Where's
hear a
that
little,
coming from?
It's over.
Oh my God!
A little rolling thunder.
Is everyone still alive? David, are you dead? David, are you? I see dead people.
What just happened is
I upset him.
Nick got the judgment, a full-on.
We're like the actual lost sound effect outside the house right now.
We're talking about the silliness that Nick has brought up. Boom. Let's move on.
The topic of the show. Toys
I love
we
that
had when we
Nick,
grew
like
up.
Nick brings up like a really like important toy from his childhood, and David's just like
Stinks.
Yeah.
just hates it so hard on
He
there.
critiqued me.
He did critic you.
You should have saw how he sipped his water after he said that.
No, Greg,
Jay
just
Shermaning
So
me.
much disdain.
I'm
But
very-
we'll move on in a second. But Matt, you would love these things because what you would get is you get a little box, right? And they would only show you one, and the rest were a mystery. So you bought the box like hoping you were going to get the monsters you wanted, and it
The
would
kid
borrow.
trap.
It would borrow from Greek mythology. It would borrow from like American folklore. You had like the Hydra. You had Medusa, but then you also had like Bigfoot, and you had like the Mothman. So it would mix mythologies, and on the back there was a number, and basically you look at the number, and whatever was higher would win the individual head-to-head battle, and then we have these like trading cards that would then explain like why.
So that's where that gets into like that turn-based shit I can't deal with. I can't
but there
do
was
it.
no rules to it.
Yeah,
You just
no.
collected
This
them.
wasn't toys. This was a board game that you're talking about.
There was no board in this
I mean,
game.
take some pieces of paper, write numbers on them, and then fucking share them with each
You
other.
remember the thing
just
that
had
you would do?
them. You just had them.
I
Yeah.
feel I'm pulling for Nick
papers
on this one. You guys are very dismissive of his toy idea, but
His
It's not my
Toy-
idea. It literally existed. Google monsters in my goddamn pocket. You'll
And
see
you
what
will
I'm talking
not
about.
get what you're talking about because ultimately what you're talking about relates to a board game or some kind
It's
of
not a
game.
board game.
A toy had no involvement.
And even if
in
it
a
was,
game.
it was
Not the
still a
board
game.
game.
It's still a toy. Is a game not a toy?
No, it's not.
no, it's not a toy.
I would
It's not.
argue that a game could be a toy. Is all I'm saying.
Well, so Greg,
I found them.
you found he's Googled monsters in my pocket.
Is Magic the Gathering toys? Like, are those cards toys?
first of all, we are not going to talk about Magic the Gathering in this
That's my
podcast because it's a
point.
terrible, horrible thing
That was my point.
that my stupid college roommate played. But so let's regroup here for a
Yes.
second.
Let's
Greg,
get back to not
Yeah.
Nick
when you were
conversation.
growing
What
up,
was
and you
your
had a
favorite
brother,
monster
you have
in
a
your
brother,
pocket?
right, Greg?
Yep, older
I met
brother.
we met your brother at the concert.
Yep,
At the They Might Be Giants concert.
That's true.
Did you guys are pretty close in age. So what was the
3
toy
years
you
apart,
fought
yeah.
over most? Did you fight over any of your shit?
Yeah, we fought over girls like fucking men. No. We're gonna go watch the football game. Pieces of shit. When Crespo brought this topic up on VR, our group text, I had no fucking clue what he was talking about, and I said so in the text. I sort of know what you guys want to talk about, but I don't want to talk about that really. So we'll talk about whatever you want, and I'll try to chime in. You know, when I.
Well, that's why I want to interview you
Give
a little
him
bit on
direction.
this. So,
Please
all right,
do.
so
Answer the goddamn question.
What was
What
your-
toy did you fight over?
did you fight over with a toy with your brother?
Absolutely not.
Did you guys play with any toys together?
we played sports.
Okay, when you were real little, have you owned a toy that is not sports related?
Maybe an action figure.
How about did you
something?
have the sports what were those called? The football and baseball?
I know what he had. You had a goddamn wrestling buddy, didn't you? You had Randy Savage wrestling buddy, didn't you?
For sure.
I knew it.
For sure.
I smelled it on him.
For sure.
Remember those little nylon dolls?
Yeah.
I can still smell them.
Yeah. We used to go off the top ropes with those motherfuckers.
See,
There
I knew
it
it.
is.
But
Nicely
I
done,
knew
Nick.
you were a wrestling buddy, man.
That's good.
And
But-
what were there were the figures you get that were like baseball players, and they would be sliding into a base, or they were basketball players and they'd be dunking. There was a brand that did nothing but all sports related action figures, so that the nerdy kids like me could start to have conversations with the cool sports kids like Greg. And I'd be like, oh, I got Batman. He's like, I got Ken Griffey Jr. And I'd be like, I bet Batman wins in a fight. He's like, you don't understand how things work, nerd.
Ken Griffey Jr. is the go-to.
Put you in the fucking locker.
Ken Griffey Jr. is the go-to. I don't follow sports, but I remember that guy. To bring
I
up
was
whenever
more of
you
a
need.
Tim Rainier fan from the Expos, because I was a big Expos fan. Good God Almighty, Greg is angry, just making thunder rain down on us.
Yeah,
Tim
Raines,
by the
his
way.
statue at the Mariners Stadium is proof enough that people who don't play sports or understand sports really love Ken Griffey.
Yeah.
Junior.
You're correct. Junior, no question.
Fuck senior. He can. It's like a cock and hell.
Holy crap!
We just got
just
angry on
died
the Knicks
recently.
side of things. Like, yeah, Ken Griffey Jr. statue. Ken Griffey, not so much.
All right, so you had wrestling toys. So you had mostly sports related toys.
To be honest, I was thinking about this as I was driving over here because I was like, I don't want to fucking talk about this. I don't.
He was too busy getting laid.
I don't. I was fucking and sucking. Wait. Hold on. I wasn't,
Mostly sucking.
I wasn't sucking. Hold on. Damn it.
You could suck clit.
No.
I'm still a man.
But seriously, like, if I had to be honest, as I was driving over here and thinking about, what, childhood toys or whatever, first thing that came into my mind was...
You did play with your taint, though, to be fair. It's not a toy, but...
He's almost getting to something.
I'm sorry.
Thank
I
you,
derailed
Nick.
it. I derailed
Thank
it.
you. You derailed him.
Yeah, I'll get back to that
He's
later.
like the Juggernaut. Once he gets up to speed, you gotta just let him keep going. Otherwise, it's gonna.
Anywho, what I was saying, as I was thinking about this awful, can't relate to at all topic whatsoever. It's Nerd Rope,
Hey, remember simpler times when you didn't know
50 minutes ago?
when girls were icky and there were just He-Man and Transformers and wonderful things?
Here's my deal, Matt, is Greg does not have the touch.
Oh man, alive! I
Transformers.
I know. It's just I don't have the clip, and there's nothing I can do with that. All right.
It started so good.
So
New Wave podcast, less than meets the eye.
all right, so here we're gonna salvage this right
Yes,
here. So I'm gonna show you how I can think on the spot here, without having to edit necessarily.
I felt like this was going to be so easy.
So David and Nick and I are going to engage in some nerdy toy talk, and then every so often I'm going to play a 36-second clip for Greg. And Greg is going to say whatever he wants to say for 36 seconds. We're going to test it out right now. This is specific only to Greg. Greg, when you hear this clip, you have 36 seconds to talk. Are you ready for this?
Ready.
This is be where you would speak, Greg. You have 30.
Oh,
We're down to 22 seconds
Do you
now.
know what I was thinking? I was
No.
thinking, is that me? Was that me, or was it the real one?
We're down to 13 seconds.
Because remember,
Yeah, I did.
I did it live. Fucking do it live. Oh, I love Ben. He's a good guy.
Oh, time's up.
All
All right, now back to the
Yeah,
podcast.
anyway, now back to
fun, guys.
everything.
You reenacted the Anna Kendrick?
I did.
Wow.
I did.
We gotta go. Oh no, he legit.
We gotta go.
Oh my god! Oh my, God is like, stop recording. This is terrible. No, Greg actually
Greg does not approve.
If you go back to, I believe it was our chick flicks. No, it was Girls in Cinema.
Yeah.
Episode where we're talking about actresses that we liked.
Girls on film.
Greg out of nowhere brings up Pitch Perfect as one of his favorite movies and does live the Cup song, which I'd never seen the movie or heard the song at that point. Blew my fucking mind.
Introed you.
It was amazing.
You're welcome.
So let's go back to the toy thing here for a little bit.
And now Matt can't climax unless that song is playing in the background.
Oh yeah.
I actually only climax when that song is playing.
Of Greg doing
that's why I want to keep playing it throughout the podcast. So David, what was the first toy you remember wanting or owning because it related to a movie or TV or other pop culture kind of entity for you?
So I am much younger than kind of the group that is actually here.
Say your age, 22?
Yeah, about that. No, I'm actually
14 years old.
I've hit the dirty 30s. I am 32, about to be 33 in a couple of weeks.
God.
So
33 years old.
So 2 years younger than me. Okay,
33. So for me, there was, everybody else had Transformers, everybody else had He-Man, and when you go back in the history of those, you understand exactly where I ended up with the way that I did, and so my
Power of
That's how David dresses himself every morning.
Totally. And so it wasn't until like I really like, you know, the Netflix whole like the toys that made us, and I really understood how the hell did I end up the way that I did as a child after, you know, being a marketer for as long as I have been. And so
you're a cold
great series on Netflix.
You're a cold e-commerce marketing guru.
Yeah, no question. And
Did the childhood abuse play an role in this at all, or?
This sounds like a confession.
My
but
divorced
I like
parents, you know, totally let it me to be in
home.
No, absolutely nothing even related to that, because when I think about it, all right, Matt. Yes, my broken life is hilarious in every way possible.
Sorry. Continue.
So, what actually led me, and when I think about it now, like the toys that my twin brother and I used to play with was always Ninja Turtles. Like that was our deal.
Okay, so you and Nick are on this one.
And so when you think about how, like, if you've actually done a little bit of research back into how like toys came to be in some way, shape, or form, if you watch that, like how the toys that made us, like He-Man was actually the root of that in some sense. So I wasn't old enough to really enjoy He-Man in any way, shape, or form. But Ninja Turtles actually followed that same kind of formula in the sense that there was a backstory. There was a reason to buy these toys. There was a show that was on TV. And so you could watch it on TV, and then at the same time you go to Toys R Us or whatever it was, and then
KB Toys.
KB Toys, yes, wow. All day.
I love that fucking place.
Yeah.
FAO
you love that place. You own no toys. But all of a sudden you fucking love KB Toys.
I never bought anything. I just like to go in there.
Jesus Christ.
Look at all these assholes buying stuff.
Oh my God. That's how I am in strip clubs. Like, I love these places. I don't want to buy anything.
Yes.
I don't want anything.
All right. I've never been more opposite on
his cup sound didn't play yet, so I'm still going to continue. But yeah, Ninja Turtles was our first go at any and all toys, and so we had just about every. So between my brother and I had Donatello and Raphael. My brother had Leonardo and Michelangelo, and so we designated.
So you were Donatello. How did you get Donatello and Raphael? That's okay. So you split up Raphael and Michelangelo as the two best.
Wow. See, that tied you guys together forever, because Donatello clearly belongs with Leonardo and Raphael clearly belongs with.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's Raph and Leonardo together vying for leadership, and then Donatello and Michelangelo as friends.
Oddly enough, yeah. And
that's
so when I look back at what
you were forced to play together,
what we did as twins, like, and we were the same age, and we didn't, we were living in Hialeah, and we did whatever it was, and we didn't necessarily have that many very many friends.
Twins.
God, but the point is, it's like for whatever reason, it somehow magically worked out that like. I was Donatello and Raphael, and he was Leonardo and Michelangelo, and yet...
You are not like, you are so not Raphael. I don't even know where to begin on Donatello. I see.
David Crespo is cool but rude.
So here's the deal. Here's the deal that I will make.
Thunder. Is that going to come through in the podcast, or later are we going to listen and hear nothing?
Yeah, you're not going to hear anything.
Just us reacting to a storm.
Just so you guys know, there's extremely loud thunder here that's trying to interrupt David as he tells us.
I like turtles.
And it's just not doing well.
Beautifully done.
Yeah. But essentially what kind of happened, and actually I'll look at it today, is I'm so much more angry at anything than my brother could ever dream of being, and so that's where the Raphael comes into play.
Okay, I can see a little of your anger management issues coming through there. All right.
As somebody who I managed personally, like, you can understand why I was Donatello and Raphael. And,
what was your favorite Turtles toy?
You know, I can't actually say that because we were never comic book fans. It was always the show, and then we would always make up our own with the toys together. Like,
Did you have a Technodrome?
No.
We did not have the Technodrome.
I know which one is your favorite.
Well,
I know your favorite.
I'm with David on this. The thing is, the Turtles toys, now fanboys get the NECA Turtles replica from the movie, and now the nerds get the comic-related ones, right? But
those are the toys I didn't want.
Well, the ones that were available to us were, one episode of the 80s episode of Turtles would have a one-off character, and then it would make an action figure of that one character. And I remember one of them was the frog character was in like one episode, but it was an action figure that all my friends had.
I had the Ribbit Pig?
My biggest one, though, Nick, was
sorry, Casey.
Was the Manta Ray. Ray Flip.
Yes,
Ray Flip was so rare and so hard to get. And everybody who had a Ray Flip, you're like, oh,
super
man,
cool.
can we be friends? But for me, the actual ones that are, like, hold the most nostalgia and most memory for me in my life is simply because as a child, I fucked up. God. My dad happened to be in a baseball league, and, like, you're just messing around with stupid shit, and you don't even realize what you're doing.
Did you ruin his Babe Ruth signed ball, Sandlot style?
I ruined his Leonardo that transforms from a miniature, like, regular turtle into Leonardo.
What? That exists?
Yes.
It exists.
They made them for all of them.
We had all four, and that was the one that I happened to ruin.
They folded inside a little, like, box turtle, and then you could fold them out, and they would turn into the...
Yeah.
So it's Transformer Ninja Turtles. So they're like, what do we do to combine these two?
He held that grudge on me for years until... Years and years and years until the final, like, re-release where we're adults, and I'm, like, we're well established, and they finally go ahead and make this, and I was like, there's only one way I can make this right, and that's I get you this frickin' turtle, because he, to this day, will go ahead and go back between me and my mother, just like, remember that time you ruined my Ninja Turtle? Just straight up. So, sure enough, they did a re-release. I bought that thing. I was like, here. Can we just call it even now?
Oh, my God. That's like some deep-rooted shit right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
No wonder you wanted to do this podcast. It would just save you, like, a ton of therapy.
Yeah. I sold my brother's guitar once.
He didn't care about that nearly as much as my brother cared about that Leonardo morphing turtle.
No, definitely not.
Wow.
Well, what's interesting, Nick, you had a sister...
I currently have a sister.
Your sister is still with us and living.
You once in your life.
But it's kind of interesting as David touched on something. I mean, you're not a younger or older. You're twins, but like that was thunder. If you can hear it out there, the breaking of toys between siblings was and I was the youngest, so of course I was the one that broke fucking everything, unless my brother got mad at me and he purposely would just fucking destroy something. And one of those many things he like
an asshole.
Well, he would destroy. He would typically destroy things that probably, like, if Greg knowing me now would destroy.
Chris.
Anything, anything that he thought could make me that made me look girly or little. Even though I was 7 years younger than him, so everything made me look girly and little.
Your natural love for theater?
So I didn't love theater back then. I wasn't a big fan.
Bullshit!
David.
It was in your blood, like it's in mine.
Okay, I did like Annie a lot, but
I knew it. Sun will come out tomorrow, motherfucker.
I owned a very awful toy called Teddy Ruxpin.
Oh, yes.
Also, talk about the manta ray equivalent is whoever had the caterpillar doll. That
My
could also
sister
talk.
had one.
No shit.
Yeah.
So Teddy,
I never knew anyone in the course of my whole natural life who owned the companion caterpillar.
you should have worked at Leah Remedies, and you would have met this
You
much
should have had
earlier.
a parent who was involved in logistics, either UPS or Airborne Express.
We mean they were stealing
which I did have.
Wait, that legitimately just sounded like people were pulling them off the back of trucks.
No, it's totally like my mom and my stepdad totally worked for UPS or it was Airborne Express at the time, and so they knew when a shipment came in. So same thing with like Furbies. Like we knew.
Tickle me Elmo.
And we're gonna get to some of this.
But wait, Crespo, did you have the turtle blimp?
I did not by choice because
By
it was never
choice?
it was never on the Christmas list.
Dude, the turtle blimp is. I was pretty lucky as a kid. My parents did a now as an adult I really appreciate what goes into like your kid asking for a specific toy and like going out and like getting it. I appreciate
as an adult with no children, I appreciate wanting a toy and understanding what it takes to acquire a toy as an adult for myself.
And we got it as kids, we're lucky. But like the one toy I never got that I like explicitly like. It was Ralphie's Red Ryder of the year, I brought it into every conversation. What I want is the turtle blimp, because I finally had gotten all 4 turtles. I had Shredder. All I needed was for them to roll into battle in their floating chariot.
That
the
shit
turtle
had to be
blimp.
pricey.
Can you?
Right? It's always the turtle bus, Nick.
I
it's
understand
always
that.
the turtle bus.
Yeah, or the Technodrome.
In retrospect, yes. Now, as a 35-year-old mature adult man, yes, I'd go Technodrome or I'd go Turtle Bus. But
I
back
love that
then,
he's sarcastic when he was saying like 35.
it was all about the
Snap
blimp.
straight
You
face.
blew. It had like a balloon component that it was multimedia. You blew
that
up
is what a blimp is. The balloon component is
I'm just
integral
saying.
to that.
I'm just saying, as someone who's unveiled an amazing toy.
It was the turtle car. It had wheel components on it that made it drive from to and fro, turtle style, when they did it.
I'm sorry. I guess you're not the person to appreciate the attention of detail in a toy. As I sit in this studio,
I know
the plastic
exactly what
carcasses
you're
of
saying,
every
Nick.
pop culture character ever made.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and at the same time,
How dare
like
you?
it was so secondary. Even in the TV show in the 80s, the turtle blimp was not like a legitimate thing.
I wanted that turtle blimp.
It was
man.
one moment in time.
Thanks for nothing, Mom.
What's
take it back,
crazy
Mom,
with
just
the toys also, but you also have to think of like your parents at that time. They're not watching this show. They're
don't
not
get
familiar,
it.
and
Parents
they
just don't understand.
They just hear their kid going turtle blimp, and I'd be like, it's like that scene in Bad
Fraggle
Santa.
stick car.
Fraggle stick car. Like, yeah, I heard you the first time. I don't know what a Fraggle stick car is. It fucking makes any sense to me. Turtle blimp. Turtle blimp makes no sense to me. But so
my parents knew. They knew the turtle blimp.
My favorite.
They made a conscious decision.
So
Get
every year had a toy, and we as a couple of them have come up here. Furbies were on there. Pokemon, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were the toy of 1990.
Yes,
the action figures. They were after a 2-year run for the Nintendo and the Game Boy, where video games took over as the top toy of the time. But
a game cannot be a toy.
For my generation, I mean, Cabbage Patch Kids were the hardest thing to get, but Teddy Ruxpin was the most prevalent.
I love Teddy Ruxpin.
It was the thing, and if you're not familiar with Teddy Ruxpin out there, I'm gonna play the greatest thing that has to do with Teddy Ruxpin. Mine had it really bad because. The problem is Teddy would run out of batteries, and all he was an animatronic bear that you put a cassette tape into. Kids, ask your parents what a cassette is. You put it into him, you press play, and his mouth would move vaguely along with a pre-recorded thing that he had done. The batteries would run out constantly. Mine got really bad because it got corroded. And
because no one else would read to you as a child.
And what transpired is this, and I've cut together two clips here. One is current kids looking at Teddy Ruxpin for the first time, and their reactions are perfect. And then one is what happens when Teddy's batteries go out.
We are looking at one of the most creepiest toys ever. Yep. Teddy Ruxpin. Okay, Michael, close the tape.
Okay.
Now turn up the volume.
Okay, so how do we do this?
Here.
Teddy rolling is gonna get you.
Teddy rolling.
This is great.
The mom sounds scary enough, to be
Teddy
honest.
Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends?
No.
I really enjoy talking to people.
Mom's
I
yelling
would
at
like
Teddy
you to meet
Ruxpin?
some of my other friends too.
No
We're
thanks.
going to have lots of good times together. Now, listen to this sound. When I'm looking out my window,
Nightmare fuel.
there's a butterfly. If she knew I was there, she might fly away.
Instantly in Stranger Things right
So
now.
I'm glad the butterfly doesn't know. It's really quite a show. Looking up my...
It's like a
Mom's like, no mas.
And that's during a song.
rejected magical mystery tour song.
Sometimes what happened just when he was speaking, and he just always would be like, "Hi, I'm Ted," and would just start making these awful guttural sounds. But
Death throes.
so there is a distinct danger to toys in the 80s. They were scary, they were uncomfortable, they didn't make you feel good. And I think Ninja Turtles was actually the turn from that. The Ninja Turtles were bright colored and fun and goofy, and you didn't feel like even Shredder wasn't scary. He wasn't a knife man. And I think we've actually gone.
A knife man?
He's got lots of knives on him.
Did the mean knife man try to hurt you, Matt?
Nikki, I got you the turtle car and the knife man. What else do you want? Okay.
I want the turtle blimp, Mom.
I got you, Mr. Knife Man.
I said the turtle blimp a million times.
He's got knives. He doesn't work with the
No,
blimp.
I want
He'll
the
break the blimp, honey.
turtle
He's a knife
blimp.
man.
I'll take care of it.
Why is Nick's mom Jewish?
Every mom is Jewish. Every
yes.
mom and every dad. It sounds like
Every mom and
like
every
he's
dad
Beaver's
is-
dad. Like, okay, you don't do that because I'm your father. And none of our dads sounded anything like that. I don't
And
think,
we'll
but-
be right back.
All of our dads are like, hey, Cheryl, go ahead and take care of that.
Well, and what's funny is, so Ninja Turtles was just outside of was just a little too old on
I'm
Ninja
sorry.
Turtle side, but
Collecting those Turtles figures was so much fun.
I had the video game.
Totally.
oh yeah, which
Nintendo.
was a great
Awesome.
fucking
One of
game.
my favorite
Impossible
Nintendo games.
game to play.
Are we
Yeah,
talking
real
about the
hard.
The
arcade
4-person
one?
arcade one?
No, I'm talking about the Nintendo one.
I know what he's talking
yeah,
about.
yeah,
The
yeah,
most
yeah.
impossible
Yeah,
video
come on,
game
thank
in the
The
history
one that they
of man.
ported over sort of the Game Boy, which is even harder version of that same one.
Well, you got to play as Donatello because you got the reach with the bow.
Yeah, it's all about the staff.
No, all of the stuff.
You ain't lying.
Yeah, I know.
Play my music, Matt.
Oh wait, I'm sorry.
Or Donatello's shaft,
It's
as he called it.
It's Greg's time to talk.
I'm gonna give you a different music cue this time, Greg, and you get a little longer to talk.
That's real loud.
You wanna? It's too loud for you?
Can you guys hear me? So you guys, you
Feel it.
you remember that the hockey guy in Ninja Turtles?
Casey Jones.
Yeah.
Wow, that came out real quick with that answer. That was my favorite guy. All right, turn that shit off.
Okay, done.
Is that a Jose
Greg has
Canseco
called his commentary for Ninja Turtles. You remember that guy named Casey Jones?
Greg's commentary was like a hoot commentary. You remember their hockey player, Casey Jones? Yep.
But
Okay.
was he a hockey player or did he have a lacrosse stick?
that Jose Canseco back? Tell me you didn't pay money for that.
Field hockey stick?
No, he had a real hockey,
Was it
and a
a
hockey
hockey
mask and a hockey stick.
You were right. You were good.
Yeah,
We should have just
yeah,
cut it
yeah.
off, as you said, just straight up.
And then he invented the knuckle puck and led the Mighty Ducks
Yes.
to victory over Russia.
Even though that, I
Wait,
feel
that
like
was Keenan
a
Thompson.
woman.
Keenan Thompson, sorry. I get Casey Jones mixed up with Keenan Thompson.
Wow.
Did Bruce Lee's son play him in the movie?
That's true.
We're,
100%.
guys,
I don't know. No. I would
let's
say
get
no.
back to toys.
Oh
man.
my God,
I'm thoroughly
David.
upset. Like, I want to talk toys.
toys to
We got toys to talk
You're a
about.
cow.
All right.
Exactly.
All right.
I feel like we're going so far off. Like,
So Robin Williams' toys.
Yes.
All right. So David,
God rest his soul.
what is your favorite movie tie-in toy?
Frozen.
And literally any product.
yes, every product from Frozen.
Do you want to be a snowman?
Especially the little Elsa dress-up kit.
You know, I actually don't necessarily have one, because even, like, when I think about the toys back in the day, it was always, like, we did Ninja Turtles, but it was never based off the movie. Actually, the movie toys we never wanted, because they were just weird looking, because they were not related to the
You
cartoon.
didn't want the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves toys that were built on the same chassis as the Ewok Village?
Absolutely not. It wasn't until I was an adult and like the Funko things came out that I was like, yes, movie tie-in, TV show tie-in.
Well, I think Funko is a good topic to get on here, and in honor of our guests being in the studio, I do have a little bit of a couple of presents for our guests. I also have one for Nick. It's not Funko, but you're gonna like it just the same. But first, I'm gonna
so excited.
I'm gonna do Greg's first.
I'm
Greg, you're not gonna like this.
Okay, good.
I'm just gonna let you know right now, you're not gonna like
It
this.
doesn't vibrate and it's not phallically shaped.
I was looking for what is the. I know Greg. I could tell Greg's not a toy guy before even we did the podcast. He's not a guy.
Wrestling buddy.
And I thought okay, I could go funny and get him a Bella from Twilight because he's a big Twilight fan. But I didn't feel right about that. Also, Bella was pricey, oddly enough. Ooh. And Anna Kendrick from Pitch Perfect, also pricey.
I know why. Perverts like you.
And I thought, but Greg's not going to display either of those things. He's going to keep them in his crotch or do something weird with them, and they'll never see the light of day. Mm-hmm. So, okay, well, that's something Greg might like. That will
they'll
also
see the dark at night, though.
There'll also be something that I feel for Greg, and this is. Greg hates when I say this.
Oh no!
But when I first met Greg, when he'd get excited about something he was talking about,
he had you at hello.
I felt he distinctly sounded like a Michael Keaton character, and that character is Beetlejuice. So I got you the Beetlejuice
Nice.
as he was there,
dude.
And it's mainly a lot of his monologues in that movie are kind of great. He's got that guttural kind of manly Greg thing going on there.
Nice fucking model.
Yeah, I can see Greg saying that.
You knocked it out of the fucking park. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That is dead on Greg.
Now, David was another tricky one to come up with here. And there were a lot of ways you
They
go
make
with David.
Selena Gomez pops?
It was I shit you not, first thing I searched was Selena Gomez Funko. And let me tell you,
painful.
4 hours later, I was not anywhere closer to a solution. But
you did go down an interesting rabbit hole, didn't you?
I started to think about the first thing I noticed about David,
How
other
many
than
tissues
his
later did it take you to find what you're
the
looking
first
for?
thing I bonded with David over at work, not his pedo bear, was that he had a little Pascal from Rapunzel on his desk. And so I decided to get him a little Rapunzel and Pascal Funko.
Yes.
Double duty.
Wow.
Double duty.
I totally don't have this one, which is pretty fantastic.
I was really worried you were going to, and I did not want to have to exchange that one.
Yeah, no, I totally don't have this one. I've been looking for it for a while.
And now, so it's interesting. So before we get to yours,
brought to you by Pop Funko.
And Nick, you don't get shit.
No,
so
Nick's
let's
is going to tie into the next topic, so I'm going to hold it here for just a second. But so for those of you out there that don't know, Funko Pops you've seen them everywhere. They are
Gotta have my Funko
movie,
Pops.
comics, cartoon, pop culture. I mean, there's Bob Ross Funko Pops. They're made everything. They're little bobbleheads for the most part. Some of them don't have actual bobbleheads on them, but they're little bobbleheads, and you collect them and display them, and that's it. They're very simple. It's a very simple business model they have, but it is addictive.
I bought my father for Father's Day. I bought him The Godfather. And,
nice.
And The Son.
You gotta take him out.
I've never seen Godfather. I don't
Michael Corleone.
Corleone, yeah.
Wait, what the fuck did you just say?
I've never seen that. You know, I just haven't.
Right,
I'm sorry.
Getting up.
It's not my thing. I'm more of a Goodfellas guy. Listen, no, stay back. Don't start shit. Just relax. Just relax. I'm just saying.
Nick, you love The Godfather, right?
I love it.
Yeah, okay, we got it.
I don't Beth it, but I will say, like my father grew me. He loved these little pops. He put them up like in the living room.
My father gotta have his pops. He loves them.
He put up the Corleones in the living room, along with like all the my mom's classier guest napkins and statuettes and things like that.
Well, because I think pops. I think the closest thing to pops that exists in our culture is tattoos. Pops are these things that you get one or two. Maybe it's you just on a whim. Okay, maybe I'm just going to buy this one thing because I like it.
You get a full sleeve,
and then you get
100,
some
200.
people get addicted. Other people just say, you know what, I got my Michael Corleone and I get the Don here, and I'm good to go. That's all I need.
Happy
I have my
Father's Day.
things. Happy Father's Day. Good stuff. But It's addictive. I mean, it very much is, and you want to complete your collections and your sets.
I can stop whenever I want to.
I can't. I just bought a Little Shop of Horrors once, and I have a David Bowie over there on my Guardian shelf, complete with bulge. He has the actual bulge from Labyrinth on that pop. That is the detail they do.
He's been staring at me this entire podcast.
He
and
actually kind of is staring
I thoroughly
right at David.
felt uncomfortable. I'm like... Dude does not belong in the Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, you got like a Howard the Duck, you got a full-on Ravengers over there.
I was giving him a hard time about
codpiece.
I was giving him a hard time about why that doesn't belong with the Guardian shelf, and then I just realized
he's a space oddity.
Flight of the Conchords. Bowie
yes,
in
Bowie
space.
Yeah, he's a space oddity. He's Captain Tom right there.
Fair enough.
But pops are kind of genius. One, most of them are $10. Yeah. Sometimes a little bit less, maybe a couple bucks more.
The perfect price point.
Occasionally, you get the variation stuff, and I'll be honest, I like to kind of collect shit, but I like it to sit out. I don't care about the boxes. I have no interest in most of the variations. Maybe there's something really cool that I might go hunt out, but I'm not going to pay $50 extra for like the hand is in a different position or some bullshit like that.
You can pleasure yourself with any other pops you have. You don't
They'll
have
go
to have
right up
that
your
one.
ass no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what.
Listen, I have Rocket and Baby Groot strapped to my microphone on here.
Oh god.
I mean, but
next time Matt is hospitalized, Baby Groot will be written in the doctor's report.
So David, what's the first Funko Pop you bought? Do you remember?
The very first Funko Pop that I actually got was actually not one that I bought myself. It was actually from you, Matt. So
was it the Bob's Burger?
It was the Bob's Burger
nice.
Funko.
You just bookended his pops.
I did. I bookended your pops. Gotta have my pops.
You got us Linda and Bob Belcher, and then somewhere along the lines, like I got tired of having a medically clean desk. And I'm like, the only way to add character to a desk is to add characters to it. And so
brilliant.
So really what happened from that is I started off with like, hey, it's it's summer, let's go ahead and have like Disney summery characters, if you will.
Oh, you have like you swap your pops out like shoes or like an outfit like Labor Day.
Totally.
Are there certain pops you can't use after Labor Day?
No more white shoe pops.
No more white characters after Labor Day. It's going to be tricky.
It's like my mother had flags for the different seasons out front in the house. You ever had mom flags?
Mine too, dude.
Did you have mom flags?
So many mom flags.
Easter flag. There was winter flag.
I hated it.
Mom flags. Do you guys want to be an indie rock band called Mom Flags?
Oh yes. Can we start right now?
Hold on 1 second.
You just did, baby.
None of us play instruments, but
Greg, I need 36 seconds on Mom Flags. Go.
All right, here we go. When my friends... Oh, I don't have to sing. Hold
on.
No,
you don't have to sing.
Please
speak
sing.
over it.
Please sing.
So when we first got into... how do you talk over such fucking beautiful artistry? It really takes me...
I'm gonna
takes me
I'll
back
pull her down a little bit.
to a better time.
Okay, go.
Thank you.
Mom Flags.
I'll be better for you.
Mom Flags.
So, high school, driving around neighborhoods. Usually we would just smoke weed in the car as we were driving around. My neighborhood was very popular for this activity because it was big. There was a lot of places to drive around to. You never wanted to stop. You didn't want a lot of cul-de-sacs. Every time we did it a lot in my neighborhood. Every time we passed my house, my friends would make fun of the stupid fucking lead flag or whatever the hell terrible Walmart $3 flag that my mom insisted, and I was just trying to get high, and I feel like an asshole.
Well, maybe if you and your friends played with
Happy
more toys,
Arbor
you
Day
wouldn't have been so shat upon
I
by
told
them.
you, fucking and sucking, bro.
And I vowed that day my trunk would always have a baseball bat and other assorted sporting goods in it to show you that I was a real man's.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
Wow, that just took an amazing turn.
I don't play with fucking toys.
Now, so the other thing that's kind of interesting with the Funkos, again, I think price points are very important. Because David, you talked about this idea that as an adult with a little bit more expendable income, you will save up to buy these things. You used to have to either beg your parents to buy for, or you had to save allowance money, and they were just hard to do.
That Ninja Turtles blimp is probably like $20 on eBay right now. What's the big deal? Why couldn't they just get me the blimp?
$20
That
in
Ninja Turtles blimp
1989
is
was
going
like $2 million.
50 plus on eBay, if not
I'm
more.
looking it up.
Yes, bring it up,
So-
Nick.
I don't have my.
Go
Look,
ahead.
up, look up turtle blimp.
All right, turtle blimp. We're looking at the turtle blimp. It's
See how much it goes for.
Fraggle stick car.
Yeah.
So the other thing that changed, I think, a lot of it for me, especially, were the subscription boxes. And I have Loot Crate and Geek Fuel, and this is where Nick's gift comes in. Is occasionally I will get things in a Loot Crate or a Geek Fuel that I'm like, oh, this is a Nick. It's a Nick special. Oh, what'd you guys find here?
We have a very big discrepancy between the results that we've had.
So I'm on eBay, and so best offer. So I imagine this one's from China. $25 or best offer.
$25 for a turtle blimp.
Or there's another one.
Or best offer.
And so there's another one going for $30 with $12.90
So
shipping.
Crespo's on
$4.
eBay China.
Wow.
If you want to buy a
China.
legitimate Ninja
Legitimate?
Turtle blimp, it's $120.
Oh,
What?
wow.
No way.
That's got to be like nobody's touched this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be the...
It shoots
Sorry,
rockets. Can
That's
it shoot
from a
rockets?
non-smoking phone.
My bad. The ones that I
Can it
have
shoot
looked at on
rockets?
mine are all TMNT.
You know, I'm an OG, you know, Chuck Lorre turtles.
Those are the ones that you had to put
Got it,
helium
baby.
in the blimp, and
Yeah.
it was basically a balloon.
Yeah.
They were all basically...
And
they're the same fucking thing.
Do you remember when?
No,
do you remember when?
'cause it's a one-time use balloon.
Speaking of toys,
It's like a condom. You can use it doubles as a giant condom, Greg.
Well,
this
It's not
kind
like
of-
Greg
This
interested in
kind of
this.
relates. Do you remember when Burger King, for like an extra $2, you could get a kids meal and then one episode of Ninja Turtles on VHS?
No.
And you got you collect 4.
Yes.
There's 4 different episodes.
VHS all day.
Well, no, actually, I do want to talk about movie tie-ins with fast food, which I have on here as well.
Man.
But
I got an Alf puppet from McDonald's once that you punched out the cardboard of the Happy Meal box and you taped a quarter to it and it played as a 45 on turntable.
oh my
And it was
god,
Alf singing. No shit.
All I did was fuck the mouth of the Alf puppet.
back on Melmac. Oh my god, poor Alf.
That's what you get for eating my cat, you motherfucker.
I'll show you an alien life form, you fuck. Okay,
Oh my god.
so Nick, this is your newest Rick and Morty.
Hey.
Is that a 5-star? What is that?
Oh man.
What is that? 5-star?
That's great.
He's got 5 stars.
Wubba lubba dub dub. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. It's-
Nerds nerding out on nerd
Now,
toys.
so Greg, at least you had to have had some point in your childhood where you ordered a Happy Meal and you got some sort of movie tie-in in there, but no?
Dude, like, I was so not into any of that shit, man. It's hard to
Getting
even
laid.
think. It's hard.
I ain't got time for nuggets. I'm fucking busting nuts.
Dude, right? Say it again. Yeah, I fucked with baseball cards. I fucked with wrestling back in the day. But
Don't got time for nuggets. I'm too busy posting nuts. Wow. I'm sorry.
Speaking of that, I fucked my pool. You know those. You know the jets that stream out of your pool?
Oh, everybody fucked the Jets in their pool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an intense toy.
Oh my God Almighty!
It's bad when you're pushing the microwave because you're laughing so damn
How we've lost our way on here.
No. I got pissed real bad. How about
Okay,
that?
I think we're real close to the end here.
Can I pitch one last ending for this?
Oh, well, there's gonna be a subsequent one as well. But go for it.
Do your thing. I was gonna say, what is the Mount Rushmore of like toy theme song commercials? I have a clear cut Rushmore.
Is that somebody's phone going off?
Nick.
Of course.
Someone's alarm is going off.
Of course, Nick.
Not me.
Definitely not me.
David?
No.
It's the Crest Man.
Greg?
It was totally me.
Called every one of us out on that one.
Oh my god.
So that's what. So what would you say is the best toy you ever owned?
Can I go? I want to go with one that I didn't own, but I thought was ridiculously amazing for what it was at its time. And so, excluding the 1/6 size Millennium Falcon, it is totally that G.I. Joe battleship cruiser.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Wasn't a G.I. Joe, man.
It was full on.
I wasn't either, but that battle cruiser was fucking. It was an aircraft carrier. It was fucking.
It was almost like a
life size.
Yeah, life size aircraft carrier. They came with a 1/16 scale F-16, and your GI Joes could totally fit in this thing. But the detail on it for every single level was so thought out that it was just incredibly amazing. You had this 20-foot sized toy in your bedroom, if you will.
Is that what got you to enlist?
Oh, totally. Yes, I've been an Air Force, recruit forever. They've been trying to recruit me, and I just have not accepted. So, like I said, I've been an Air Force recruit for a very long time.
So Greg, I know you're not a toy guy.
But listen, I got one.
Oh, all right. Well, we're gonna let you do that, but you're gonna have to compete with a slightly lower volume Crocodile Mile commercial.
I like. Ooh, you jump. You slide, you hit the bump and take a dive.
Yes!
You hit the dive.
Maybe I just drink too much and I can't remember any of the toys I had in my childhood. That's a possibility, I feel like. But
everybody, here comes. You run, you dive, you hit the bump and take a dive.
Oh. I thought it was you hit the bump and then you die, which my mom told me why we couldn't have one.
Matthew.
No, you hit the bump and then you subsequently took a dive.
Yeah.
A dive. You took a dive.
All right, Greg. So what is your
I will
Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, no, I'll nerd out with you.
Oh my god!
The nerdiest toy I ever had by far that I can recall. As we know, I can't recall very much.
Oh, remember so good, Adrian.
See you.
All right, Jeff Sessions.
I had the fucking the Darth Vader case, the head, the helmet,
wow,
with all the little Star Wars.
Yeah.
I had that.
You had the Polly Pocket of Star Wars.
God, that was like a nerd. That was only the real nerds had that shit.
Yeah.
I
didn't
bet
have
that
that
shit
stuff.
would be worth money. I'd
100% be worth money.
I'm so glad Crespo brought up Polly Pocket. I was waiting the whole
Because
episode.
Nick's like, you know what my toy was?
Steal my fucking thunder, why don't you?
Boy, Nick only liked toys that happened in his pocket. Polly Pocket, Monsters in My Pocket.
I was a dude busy getting laid. I was more of a Mighty Max man.
Pocket pool.
At least Mighty Max had a cartoon. Polly Pocket was struggling.
It's like ordering a Roy Roger instead of a Shirley Temple. It's the same goddamn thing, but just gender specified.
What's a Roy Roger?
It's a Shirley Temple. It's
one of the best drinks I ever had.
That was fucking rhetorical, idiot.
It's got a maraschino cherry in it. You know what I'm talking about.
What was your holy grail of things you actually had?
Oh man, I mean, I never owned it. That was the whole.
It was just the blimp. That was it.
Well, I never. No, like there were two types of.
What was something you owned? What was something you did play with that you loved?
There's two types of toys, right? The toy that like your friend had, you had to go over to like their house to play with it.
That still counts.
Or the toy that you had, and also all of your friends also had.
No,
those are the
forget
two
that
types
one.
of
It's
toys that I
always
had.
the toy that you wanted, like that.
And that toy was Crossfire. Which is
Ooh.
also a game.
Crossfire!
Which is also a game.
Yes!
And that's why I'm sorry you're on my side now. I can see him. Now that was the key. Crossfire is the key.
Here's the deal. If we could go ahead and play a game right now on this podcast of Crossfire.
Oh, wow. You're going to go that
you'd
far
get caught
with
up
it.
in the
Yes.
Crossfire.
Matt and Greg would both be caught up in the Crossfire.
I do have this. We were going to use it for the opening.
Listen to the setup is so grandiose. Okay.
All right, here we go, guys. We're going to do a little Crossfire. Oh, wait. I just have the...
Not
cover.
The remix. No, which one?
There's
The
a
normal
cover.
Hold
Crossfire.
on, I got it. I'll find it here. 1 second.
Covers like
All you have to do is close your eyes and
17-year-old
listen to the
boy,
music
like,
in your head.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and kick your fucking ass right
my
now because
God.
I got the Crossfire.
Anytime you had a disagreement, all right, motherfucker, my house, after school, Crossfire.
Oh, what did happen to this
Challenging
thing?
And you shot, you had like little like guns.
Yeah, you had
that
a
you would
full-on trigger mode.
and you would shoot little metal pellets, and you would then shoot these little spinning targets, trying to get them into your opponent's goal. Yeah. And it was like Space Age, and like only my friend Tim had the crossfire. I could never get my own.
Keep vamping.
I'm ripping. And
vamping.
The one thing that I'll never forget.
Deluxe set crossfire too, like because you would run out of pellets when you were actually trying to play, and so it's just because your aim was that awful.
It was like
you need a 4-person crossfire set.
Time in the future, the ultimate challenge. Crossfire.
Sometime in the future.
Caught up in love.
In love?
Yes, of all things.
You'll get caught up in love. You'll get caught up in love.
I wanted it to be love.
No, it's
I know it's the, but I wanted it to be love. As a kid, I was like, caught up in love.
You'll get caught up in love.
It was so 80s. I was like, yeah, you get caught up in love.
Now, did you play? Have you ever played Crossfire?
So Crossfire to me was just a game that I played with my friends, but to you, it was a warning.
Yeah.
A warning for the future. Careful, you'll get caught up in love.
That makes a lot of sense for David's life as far as a defining characteristic goes.
To this day, I refuse Crossfire.
You'll get caught in the crossfire of love.
Never said I do at his wedding. Little known fact.
Oh my God, you guys! Crossfire was trying to warn us.
Oh
my God, it was here the whole time.
Oh, I love that Nick did give us a cover version, and Greg, that part you were asking about in the beginning is part the organ is part of the opening for that, and you can hear when you hear it on this cover, this hard rock cover.
It's in the commercial though, original.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I like this.
This reminds me of like the Pokemon theme song that goes way harder than it should.
Okay, we're not gonna listen to all
you didn't let it ramp up.
But Crossfire was in it. First of all, Crossfire was an amazing commercial. And it was an okay game.
Yeah, really well. It was like a great movie trailer with a fucking.
And by the way, every toy commercial, as a kid, they were playing on the biggest fucking sets, and they had the rocks and mountains, and they'd shoot a missile and it would knock down like a boulder quarry that they just happened to be playing on. I didn't have any quarries in my neighborhood that I could play with that shit.
Mushroom haircut, just doing a
Well, and what's funny
is you were one of the poor kids who didn't play in a quarry.
Well, when I was little though, like even when I was super young, I definitely had I liked the movie shit, like Batman stuff. We all, by the way, played with. I think you guys should look up the Justice League Ultimate Batmobile. Is maybe the best toy I've ever seen with my own human eyes. But
check out the New Way Podcast Instagram for exclusive video.
Oh, we have some video on that.
With it.
But I will say the greatest movie tie-in toys that I owned as a kid
the P.T. Anderson Boogie Nights Prophylactics.
You're actually very close. Wow. I'm going to play you the commercial for them.
From the film Karate Kid 2, Hornby are proud to present the stars. Meet Daniel, the Karate Kid, his mentor, Miyagi, and his latest foe, Chozen.
How do I
Plus, of
know
course,
about
their
this?
arch enemies, Johnny, Sato, and Kreese. Each tri-action Karate Kid figure can chop, twist, or kick. And to help the Karate Kid master his art, there's a training center complete with a Attack Alley where you come face-to-face with the enemy. Karate Kid 2, available for video rental. Stars now available from Hornby.
So when
Karate Kid 2, is that the one with Hilary Swank?
No, that's 3. That's the next Karate Kid.
Love is the sound.
Yes,
the
100% great. Where he goes to Okinawa.
Okinawa. That was a song played at my wedding by the choice of my wife because we both enjoyed that song after watching the movie. Like, yeah, totally, white dude, with an Asian woman.
Now they released.
What does that have to do with the Crossfire theme song?
Oh man, you guys did it right.
I think I fell behind. Wait, what are we talking about?
Oh my god!
And that'll do it.
David just reduced his wedding to a woman of Asian descent to the Karate Kid Part 2.
Listen, Glory of Love is one of the greatest things from Peter Cetera ever.
For your honor,
I am
You've been dreaming of.
So Karate Kid 2 had its own toy line. Now, why I said KB Toys before, this is very important. We drove cross country constantly when I was a kid.
Cross country! Cross country!
I'm gonna piss myself.
We're so close. We're so close. We're so close. We got just like 3 more minutes. So we would drive by all of these fucking strip malls and like outlet malls. And outlet malls were the only places that had KB toy stores after they shut down. And they only carried toys no other kid would ever like go, oh, they have all the Karate Kid toys. I could be Mr. Kreese, or I could be the old Japanese man. And literally you had like a little like stick thing where you could break boards and you could break the glass, the ice up. I fucking love.
Wow.
I had an entire road trip across the country with my dad, and all I did is sit in the hotel and play Karate Kid 2 and recreate it. Damn. Now, before we finish up here, and
you
by the way,
the Cobra Kai.
I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight, Greg and David, and of course Nick, as always here. There's one last thing that I feel we need to bond over and enjoy.
Take off your pants.
It's something that Greg brought to my attention and to David's, and it's something that subsequently Nick also tried to bring to the table, but we'd already heard it. But I'm going to leave you all out there. And unless, Greg, do you have any final words you'd like to say, other than you have to pee really bad?
Yeah, no, my shirt is not off. This is weird, but it's okay.
But the beard is definitely coming in there. You want to let the people hear the beard one more time? There we go. David, do you have any final parting words?
No, I don't necessarily have any right now. No.
Well, I think we have some more toys to talk about at some point. Nick, anything you want to get off your chest? I like old Dolly Parton shirt you're wearing.
Thank you. Yeah, the name of this design is called Dolly Rocks, and it's as if Dolly Parton were a metal act. What were her merch looked like? With a skull and giant hair. But I was recently in Nashville on vacation with my sister, and I chickened out. I was going to wear this, but she's like.
She's royalty. You're trying to kill her.
And people, at the rent-a-car looked at me like, is it a malicious thing? Do you wish ill? No. And no, Dolly Parton was my first human crush. I have nothing but good feelings about Dolly Parton.
Many of the right-handers in, random moments with Dolly Parton, yeah?
Sure.
Right-handed.
What? What's a right-hander?
Or you're a lefty?
Left-handed son of a...
Are you lefty or are you righty?
I'm a righty.
Okay. Do you shake hands with your right hand or you go left?
Okay, you're just getting weird.
I'm just glad we glossed over my first human crush. I thought you were going to call me on that.
No, human crush. What was your first non-human crush?
I don't want to talk about it.
It was Gizmo, wasn't it? All right. So one of the things that Greg brought to us, and we listened to a lot of shit back in the marketing department there. I mean, we did a little. We used to get pepped up on Fridays with any kind of montage song we love.
Yes.
And then sometimes we just like to edit together portions of a smooth song. I edited us together at work 7 years ago, but so there were a lot of really fun things that we did there. But I would say the one that broke all of us, that changed everything, is. I want pizza. If you guys don't know this, this is the
whipped cream waterfalls.
This is the Olsen twins slowed down from a pizza party video they made.
Meatball.
Whipped cream flowing like waterfalls.
There it is.
Someone slowed this down, and it is absolute genius. And
this is the first evidence that the internet is the fucking most amazing thing in the world.
This is one of those. This is drinking from cups. It's one of those seminal old deep tracks on the internet that just really let us know what a wonderful place the internet was going to be, because something like this exists.
Which is now our toy.
I thoroughly had hoped you did our remix of this and included it in there with the snores.
I have it, but I didn't think anyone else would understand it. But I did cut together a version of this called Yo Jabba Jabba. That cut together footage of Jabba the Hutt. This is what's on the video. You can actually see this on Mr. GregSmash. This exists on Mr. GregSmash.
YouTube.com/GregSmash.
This was our marketing our marketing director at Leah Remini's used to fall asleep and also had a cough that never went away. He had a cough the entire time. It was a cough, constant, just always happened.
Yeah,
so
dry.
I cut together Jabba eating frogs with. He falls asleep in a second.
While coughing.
Yeah, it's like a whole minute of that that we cut together to it.
Wow.
But yeah, I urge everyone out there to both visit Mr. GregSmash and to find a company like Leah Remini's to work at, because
this reminded me of when we tried to do a podcast and play my second film in college.
Yeah, I figured there was going to be a little of that. But again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you cherish your pops that you're going to take back with you.
Oh wait, real quick. Remember the
Pick one of them.
Ghostbusters toys, and there was a toilet that turned into like a monster when you
Thoroughly,
opened up
with a tongue. It was
with
wild.
the tongue. All right, that's it.
Ew.
Remember that?
No.
You don't remember the
The
Ghostbusters
Ghostbusters toys
cartoon
were big too.
Was it like a human-sized toilet?
It was a toilet that when you open
figure-sized toilet.
When you open up the lid, then it would turn into a monster. There was teeth underneath the toilet lid, and the eyes came out. Like
Yeah, but tell me more about the tongue.
All right.
Okay, so you got like a toilet, well, it's like a bidet, right? The tongue just licks it out.
It
right?
was an action figure that like a lot of people my age had.
It was kind of like Cherry, but it was
a demonic toilet.
Demonic Cherry.
Ghostbusters Cherry.
Yes. I remember the toy. I was just messing with you.
God, and
just trying to make a gross joke.
It's probably in here somewhere, for fuck's sake.
Matt's sitting on it right now.
It's sitting in
your
Matt.
Thank you guys so much listening for good God Almighty.
You're assuming that they listened to it.
Thanks for those viewers that are still with us.
Through the whole episode.
Please make sure you're still breathing and alive. And we will talk to you on the next episode of the New Way Podcast.
YouTube.com, Mr. GregSmash.
Cheers, Mr. GregSmash.
Kristen Sloth loves spells.
One of Greg's favorites.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Cheers.